Hi there, folks. Welcome to the program. This, of course, is Stinchfield, the podcast. There is an economic miracle going on right now, and President Trump is leading that economic miracle. It should be helping you. We see wages going up. We see inflation coming down. We see the job market looking as good as it's ever looked. Yet the mainstream media is telling you that you don't feel like it's good. Well, I'm curious. Do you feel like the economy is in a good spot or not? I mean, your perception is your reality, but I will tell you that the numbers that President Trump is driving right now appear to me that everything is going in the right direction. And this, as you have entities trying to hold him back, specifically the Fed refusing to bring interest rates down at a faster rate as President Trump would want them to. With that said, I have some advice for President Trump. Just let her rip, as my friends over at the Center to Unleash Prosperity say. Let her rip, okay? The reason we say this is don't get in the way of what you're doing, President Trump. I believe there are some inside President Trump's administration that are more worried about public relations, coming up with gimmicks that look like campaign tactics and promises, that you don't need to go down this road. They're anti-free market ideas. I'm going to go through some of those ideas that I would push back against President Trump on and say, just let your plan happen. It's working, and we're seeing the fruits of that plan. We'll go through some of that. Then I want to talk about the National Rifle Association and its demise. Well, they sent one of their top leaders to talk to me on Real America's Voice last night. I'm going to play that clip for you. And then I also want to talk about what's going on in Minneapolis. There was another situation of ICE agents having to pull a woman out of a car. What is it with these leftists that they can't get it through their thick skulls that you do not want to tussle with ICE agents? And what is happening and unfolding in Minneapolis is nothing short of really depressing, disgusting, and dangerous. With that, folks, I want to get the show started. But before we do, let's talk about my friends over at Patriot Mobile. You know, I have a Patriot Mobile serviced phone. My cell service is provided by Patriot Mobile. It is the official provider of Stinchfield's Army for your mobile phone service. Why? They're America's only Christian conservative wireless provider. They believe in the things we do. Not to mention the service is great. You pick which of the big three networks that you want to be on. Patriot Mobile will take a portion of the proceeds it makes from you and it puts it towards conservative causes, whether that's helping veterans, whether that's pushing for First Amendment rights, or all the way down to local level and ensuring that conservative candidates get on school boards across the country. And, of course, supporting outlets like this one. PatriotMobile.com/grant. If you're not on board right now, you're helping to fund the woke left. They've got a great performance guarantee. They'll make a deal for you to come over. Not only that, you use the promo code GRANT, you get a free first month of service. 972-PATRIOT. Use that promo code GRANT, 972-PATRIOT. Tell them that I sent you. That is imperative. With that, folks, let's get the show started.
Uncensored and unapologetic. This is Stinchfield. Here's your host, Grant Stinchfield.
All right, welcome back, everybody. So, listen, President Trump is doing the right thing. The economic miracle is very real. Now, does he need help? He needs help from the Fed. And he doesn't need his own administration, his own advisors getting in the way and coming up with campaign gimmicks. Now, what am I talking about when I say campaign gimmicks? Well, Unleash Prosperity released a hotline today, and I urge you to go to their website, unleashprosperity.com, and check this out. They're the ones that coined the phrase, let her rip. President Trump's economic plan is working. I want you to consider this. Under Biden, at this point in Biden's term, inflation was at 6.6%. Right now, under President Trump, inflation is at 2.0%. 2%. In his first term, it was at 1.5%, so just a little bit better. But remember, President Trump is coming off of Biden and the destruction that he had committed there. Now, what do I mean by don't get involved in bad ideas that will assuredly backfire on you? I'm going to give you one, and you're probably going to like the idea, but it's not government's role. And that is capping credit card rates for the credit card companies. President Trump is issuing executive orders saying you got to cap your rates at 10%. I'm not sure he has it within his ability to do this under the law, but a 10% cap on credit cards. Now, I get that, and I understand why he wants to do that, because credit cards are hammering away at people. But I want you to consider the issue with this. Credit card companies like loan sharks have to go super high rates because there's a lot of people that default on payments. A lot. And the credit card companies are stuck with those payments. So in order to pay the payments on the default so the small business owners get paid, you've got to have a higher rate because you've got to make money. Now, is it too high? Maybe. Are there too few credit card companies? Maybe. Do we have a monopoly? Maybe. You want to go tackle that, then tackle that. I think there's an issue called swipe fees that range about 2.4% every time you swipe your credit card, that they're charging the shopkeeper that passes that on to the consumer. You want to lower the cost for consumers, lower the swipe fees. That's not going to have an effect on how the credit card companies do business. But you're not allowing free markets to operate by capping the insurance, by capping the interest rates that credit card companies can pay, because now you're going to have credit card companies that are going to do this. You have sketchy credit, they're not going to issue you a credit card. That is what will happen when you lower this to 10%. People that have credit cards now will not get credit cards. They will not be approved because the risk is too high, because credit card companies can't charge the highest interest rate. Now, I understand that is not a popular philosophy that I have, but it is absolutely the truth, and it is absolutely common sense. What's another idea? A $200 billion expansion of Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. These are housing interventions. Why are we doing this? In 2008, we had a housing collapse because people that couldn't afford houses were basically given houses. They couldn't make the payments, and the housing market collapsed. $200 billion expansion. You want to lower the cost of housing. What's that going to do? That's going to increase the price of housing. You throw more money out there for people to buy housing, the prices are going to go up. If you want to lower the cost of housing, lower the interest rates. That's what we want. We don't want artificial increases in real estate because more money is out there. I don't like this idea. I don't like the idea of large investment companies being banned from purchasing single-family homes. Those large investment companies make up about 1% of single-family home ownership in America. That is not having an effect on the price of homes in America. And free markets will take that over. If people don't want to live in a neighborhood where it's all renters, they're not going to move in there. The price of the houses will go down. Investors will not find it within their best interest to buy those houses, and free markets take over. We don't need the federal government getting in the way of that. And lastly, I will say this. The Trump administration, and I don't believe this is President Trump, is having the federal government, or wants to, take equity positions in companies like Intel and defense contractors. We don't need to be taking equity positions in American companies. That's not capitalism. The government should not be playing a role in taking ownership in companies. That's socialism, if not communism. These are ideas being pitched to the president, and I don't know who's pitching them. But they're not good ideas, because what President Trump is doing right now is absolutely working. Just listen to his economic guru.
I got to say that when we were briefing the president on the data ahead of this speech, that I have never seen him so exuberant, because he could see that everything, like, look, we're talking 5% growth. Oh my goodness, we've got inflation. Really, you're right to point out the 3-month moving average of core is probably the best thing to look at in terms of the momentum that's going forward. It's 1.6%. Goods inflation almost zero. Wages skyrocketing. Productivity skyrocketing. The trade deficit cut in half. I mean, it's just astonishing. The budget deficit down $600 billion from last year. So
all those things are amazing. This administration is kicking ass. And you, I promise you at home, will feel the benefits and results of this as we move forward. You may not be feeling it right now, but prices are coming down. So we don't need gimmicks like the federal government investing in military contractors. First off, would that not incentivize the government to get involved in wars? To me, it would. I don't like the idea. I don't like the way it looks. Now, the Center to Unleash Prosperity had some ideas on here that President Trump has had, they say are bad ideas. I don't agree with them. 50-year mortgages. I don't care if we have 50-year mortgages. I don't know if it's the greatest idea to take out a 50-year mortgage from a personal finance perspective, but that's up to you. That's up to the banks, not up to the federal government. If banks want to offer 50-year mortgages, let them offer 50-year mortgages. Center to Unleash Prosperity doesn't like it. They say deporting non-criminal illegal aliens who are working and paying taxes, they say, is a bad idea. I would disagree with the Center for Unleash Prosperity on that. What are you talking about? They're not non-criminal illegal aliens. That's an oxymoron. They crossed into the country illegally. They're here illegally. You have to have a zero tolerance policy so nobody else comes here. Just because you're paying taxes and working, you could be taking a job away from an American citizen. If you're here illegally, you must understand there is a strong possibility you will be caught and you will have to go home. But again, trying to control credit card prices in areas like interest rates is not the way to go about lowering the cost for Americans. How about we make sure we have an economy that's kicking, which the president is doing right now, that's going to raise your salaries, the money coming in, lower the cost of goods. You have more money to pay down that credit card debt. It's not the credit card company's fault that you took on debt. Kevin Hassett continued.
Everything is working about as good as I've ever seen it work on the economy. And I think that President Trump was right to be crowing about it at the Detroit Club. But don't forget, he's going to be speaking at Davos next week, too. And as we're starting to prepare how to think about what we should say to the world, the interesting thing is that President Trump has made us the shining city on the hill again. And what I mean is that all of this great growth that we're producing is actually great for other countries. And so we've been listening to other countries tell us all year, you're killing us with the tariffs and everything. But they all had record years. I mean, not as good as our year, but the point is that he's rebuilding the world order in a positive way, and it's being like equity markets around the world are skyrocketing, as are our equity markets, because Trump policies are working not just for us, not just for U.S. citizens, but for the world as a whole.
You know, it's amazing. I saw China had one of its greatest years in exports. How was that possible with all the tariffs and all these things? I'll tell you how it's possible. Because as goes the United States, goes the rest of the world. The United States leads the way, especially under a leader like President Trump, who is the businessman and knows what he's doing. So again, when you start offering up, we're going to cap interest rates on credit cards. We're going to invest in defense contractors. We're going to prohibit large-scale investors from owning single-family houses. We're going to push $200 billion into Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. These are all campaign gimmicks. And they're probably being concocted from 20-something-year-olds who want votes instead of a prosperous America that will get you the votes, and they just don't understand that. So with that, I'm going to play some clips of President Trump here about the economic miracle from his talk with CBS yesterday. And I think you're going to like it. But before I do that, I want to tell you about my friends over at the Wellness Company. The Wellness Company is offering up a product called Drop. And if you need to lose weight, drop is the way to go. So I know the new year means new resolutions. And if you're looking to lose weight, get in better shape, then drop is for you. Drop's not a gimmick. It's not a crash diet. It's not a quick fix. It's a daily prescription-free, flavorless liquid peptide supplement that supports weight management by targeting GLP-1, GIP, and other metabolic pathways. It works with your body, not against it. The core ingredient is rituximab, a breakthrough peptide studied for its ability to regulate appetite, improve metabolism, and help the body use energy more effectively. All right, combined with MCT oil, mineral-rich Irish sea moss, Drop becomes a powerful tool to curb cravings while gently raising your energy and metabolism. Drop is an investment in you and your health. Use promo code GRANT100 to save $100 on Drop. Go to twc.health/grant. Make 2026 your best year ever. Again, that's GRANT100 to save $100 on Drop. GRANT100 to save $100 on Drop. It's a great product. All right, President Trump in Detroit, Michigan, as I like to say. He was talking to CBS News. Let me play a clip from you from that interview.
We have the strongest economy maybe in the history of our country. If you went around this plant like I have, they just announced they're going to 24 hours. This is a Ford plant, but GM's the same, Stellantis is the same. They're going 24 hours all around the clock. They're enlarging every plant in this country. We're building more plants in the country than we've ever built. There's no inflation. You saw the inflation numbers. Inflation is very low.
It seems bad.
Our growth numbers are through the roof. Our job numbers are tremendous. We have the highest stock market we've ever had. Today, we hit every day for the last, I think, 48 times out of 11 months. 48 days out of 11 months, we've had the number one stock market in the history of our country. So my big focus is here. But you can't be forgetting about bad threats. You can't be forgetting about an Iran with a nuclear weapon. You can't forget that there's tremendous wealth in the Middle East, and a lot of that wealth is coming over here to build plants. Saudi Arabia is giving us $2 trillion. Qatar is giving us $2 trillion. UAE is giving us $2 trillion. All of that is for the good of this country. So my focus is very much on this country, but you can't lose sight of the fact that we need peace all over the world. I've ended 8 wars. If we had those 8 wars raging, it would be very bad for this country.
I mean, he's so right. 100% spot on. As always, President Trump is. He's right about everything. And so, again, just let it happen, Mr. President. Let it go. No more gimmicks. None of these vote-snatching schemes that turn its back on free markets. Just keep doing what you're doing. And we are rocking and rolling, as the president knows. Listen.
The inflation numbers came out. Overall, not bad, but grocery prices.
No, overall, very good. Good for us. Good for our country. Joe Biden had the highest inflation numbers in history, correct?
The direction.
I have them down to a level that they haven't seen in about 9 years.
And Mr. President, help me understand. When I travel the country and I go all over the place and I talk to everyday Americans, they tell me they don't feel it because grocery prices
might not,
are up.
But they're going to now. I've only been here for 11 months, okay? And, the first few months were really rough, if you look at them, because I inherited a mess. I inherited a mess of crime. I inherited a mess of inflation. I inherited a mess of places closing up and going to other countries. And now we have the hottest country in the world. Tony, we have now the hottest country in the world. And a year and a half ago, our country was dead. We had a dead country. You wouldn't have a job right now. If she got in, you probably wouldn't have a job right now. Your boss, who's an amazing guy, might be bust, okay?
Might be what?
That's how bad. Might be bust. I doubt it in his case, but you never know. Let me just tell you, you wouldn't have this job. You wouldn't have this job, certainly whatever the hell they're paying you. Our country is rocketing right now. We have the hottest country in the world. If they got in, we would be Venezuela on steroids.
So he just told the new anchor of CBS Evening News, and what is it, Ellison? What's the guy's name who bought Paramount and CBS, brought in Weiss to run CBS, apparently more towards the center, if not right. The son is now running CBS. He told him you wouldn't have a job if the other ones were in office because the economy would be so bad. Here's how bad CBS News has become. I don't even know this guy, Tony. He's the new anchor of CBS News. Can you imagine a time like when Dan Rather was in? What a loser he was. But that you didn't know who the anchor of CBS News was? Going all the way back to Walter Cronkite, you could name them. NBC2, Tom Brokaw, Brian Williams. All turned out to be losers, by the way. Go figure. But today, I couldn't tell you who's the main anchor at ABC, CBS, or NBC. I have no idea because I don't watch that bullshit. And why would you, quite frankly? So the mainstream media typically doesn't want to talk about this. You know what they want to talk about? They want to talk about Minneapolis. They want to talk about all of the destruction going on there. They want to talk about the mayor, and they'll have him on, and they want to talk about things like this.
What people are dealing with, man.
Yeah. I mean, we don't use the word invasion lightly. What we are seeing is thousands, plural, thousands of federal agents coming into our city. And yeah, they're having a tremendous impact on day-to-day life. And it's a negative one.
No, it's a positive way. But the media, by and large, wants to give Jacob Fry, the mayor of Minneapolis, the platform to slam President Trump. It is true that thousands of agents have flooded Minneapolis. I think you're looking at upwards close to, at some point, it'll get close to 4,000 agents. I know they're over 2,000 now. That's more than the Minneapolis Police Department, okay? Flooding Minneapolis, Minnesota, looking at fraud, looking at illegal aliens. You asked for it, Minneapolis. You asked for it, Minnesota. And by and large, the people there are happy. Look, I was just in Memphis, Tennessee over the weekend. Took my son down to Mississippi to look at Ole Miss. What a great university, too, by the way. Well, on our way back home to Dallas, we're going through Memphis. I got a buddy who lives there who was kind enough to take us to the Grizzlies game. AB Jets, by the way, if anybody out there flies private, I don't. But AB Jets is a great company. The gentleman that took me to the game owns AB Jets, and we were in a fabulous suite. Like, it was so cool. My son loved it. But the National Guard was in Memphis. And everyone I talked to there was grateful the National Guard was there. Beale Street was calm. Closed to traffic. There were foot traffic. People were happy, laughing, smiling. No craziness, no homelessness, no anything. Why? You had cops on horseback and the National Guard roaming the area around the FedEx Forum in Memphis, Tennessee. Minneapolis is going to be a much safer place, and you'll hear Jacob Fry admit that it's a much safer place because of its cooperation with law enforcement in other areas. He just doesn't like cooperating with ICE. Well, again, another situation unfolded in Minneapolis. Trying to get a woman out of a car. Like, do these people not learn? I mean, she could have been shot as well, okay? I'm going to play this for you in just a moment, but I want to play Jacob Fry again as we wrap up. Fry on with Fox News this morning, and Fox News did a good job of interviewing. Listen.
Seeing it in real time, you are aware that 18 U.S. Code 111 makes it a federal crime to impede, interfere, or even assault officers. And we see the protesters crossing a line of protesting, throwing rocks, hitting cars, and interfering in the federal government's view of their operation of carrying out federal immigration law enforcement.
We have had perhaps tens of thousands of people peacefully protesting in the streets. And at the same time, yeah, they are going to stand up for their neighbors. And
excuse me? At the same time, they're going to stand up for their neighbors by throwing rocks and bricks and ice blocks at federal agents. They're going to stand up for their neighbors by trying to run over ICE agents? You've lost your mind, Fry. And the American public, by and large, see that you've lost your mind. I don't know what it is about people in positions of power that come from the left, the Democrats, elected Democrats, that try to relate and appease to the utmost left-wing faction of their party. I promise you, everyday Democrats do not think it's appropriate to be running over ICE agents. Now, they may tell you this ICE agent shouldn't have pulled the trigger. You may have Republicans that say, you may have cops that say, you know what, I wouldn't have pulled the trigger either, but that's not the standard. Every one of those people will say he had a right to pull the trigger. I might have done it differently. Fine. We can talk about that. But he had a right to pull the trigger. This wasn't cold-blooded murder. Nobody should look at it as cold-blooded murder. But it's amazing. What was the line? We're looking at two movies on the same screen. People are seeing completely different scenarios from watching the same video. It's amazing to me. And I think the problem is the left does not know how to look at the law. They do not know how to interpret the law, which doesn't even need interpretation. Clearly, he's getting run over. Clearly, a reasonable person would fear for his life. That means he's allowed to pull the trigger, whether you think it was appropriate or not. He's allowed to do it, but they can't even fathom that kind of thing. Now, I'm going to show you the latest situation that also could have turned deadly. There's a point where this woman guns her car, and I'm going to play that for you here in just a second. But before I do that, I want to tell you about my friends over at energizedhealth.com. I love these guys. They helped me lose 15 pounds in 2 weeks. It's an 88-day program that is so simple, okay? You don't have to kill yourself. You don't have to get on a crazy diet. You just have to get hydrated at a cellular level, change a little bit away about how you move and how you eat, a little tweaks, and you're going to start shedding weight like you wouldn't believe. Here's what else happens. Call it a side effect, a byproduct. Joint pain goes away. Your mental clarity becomes clearer than you've ever imagined. This is all because of getting hydrated at a cellular level. And it's not just about pounding water. You have to know how to get that hydration into the cells. This is where Energized Health comes in. I was just at a big event on Friday to Stinchfield's Army members who got on it, and they're saying, Grant, thank you. This changed my life around. EnergizedHealth.com. There's a master class there. Watch it and then book a call with them. That's all I'm asking you. Book a call. See if it's right for you. Talk to them. It's not high-pressure sales. They're just going to talk to you about what they do. EnergizedHealth.com. That's EnergizedHealth.com. All right. Let's go through this video. You want to? Of what happened here. I'm tempted. It's 2 minutes long to just let it play out. And then we can go through it ourselves. Watch this, what happens here in Minneapolis.
Hey, go that way. Hey, back the fuck up. Sidewalk.
So you hear the chaos going on. Get out of the car. She won't get out of the car. She's blocking traffic. She's impeding ICE officers. Now look at her floor it. That's where she floors it. You got ICE agents that are going to be pinned between these two cars right now. Watch this. All she has to do is comply from the verdict. She's still fighting it.
Please, I can get up my police before I'm disabled trying to go to the doctor up there. That's why I didn't move.
Does this make you feel strong? Yeah, man!
Why would you not comply? Why would you not just comply?
Why don't you help that woman?
She's still fighting them.
Why don't you help someone?
I mean, look at this.
All you do is hurt. All you do is hurt. She's trying to drag on this.
And listen to the lunatics yelling and screaming in the background. She's in custody, and she's not dead. And now look at what happens. The ICE agent has to move her vehicle. These people are freaking lunatics. I don't know how else to explain it, but they're lunatics. You don't act like this. And yet they wonder why they're getting shot. I mean, it's amazing to me. We can go back through and play it again, folks, and I want you to watch as the officers are asking her. She's yelling and screaming at them. Move, he's telling her. She's cursing at them, and then she floors it. She has an open lane to just go. He's telling her to go. She will not move. Look at that. I want to roll this back here. She has literally an open lane to go through here. Now, let me do this because I want to make sure that I get this right. She has a lane, and I want you to see it. I want you to see where she is to show you that she has a lane to go through. She could just drive away. They're telling her to leave. They don't want to arrest her, but she's blocking traffic for a reason. Look, right there. Right there. She can just head on down the road. No problems at all. Instead, it gets to this point. These people deserve to go to jail. She's an autistic, disabled person. You don't seem autistic to me. And you don't seem disabled either. You're putting up an awful good fight for somebody with a handicap sticker, and I don't see one of those on your car either. Disabled my ass. That's pathetic, lady. Just obey commands. They tell you to move, move. I don't care if your doctor's office is right there. You got a police presence going on. They want you out of the area. I know it's an inconvenience, but get the freak out of the area. It is that easy. But you can't do that. You want to see how you're supposed to do it? I'm going to show you how you're supposed to do it. This is a trucker who's at a truck stop and gets stopped by ICE. Well, they come up to his car where he's parked. They're doing a check. Listen.
Good. How are you doing, officer?
Hey, we're doing immigration spot checks on CDLs.
Okay.
Do you have your CDL with you?
I do.
Can I take a look at it? Do you mind if I take a look at it?
No, I don't. Do you need to?
All right. Do you have your CDL? Obviously a police officer. Turns out it's an ICE agent. Do you have your CDL? Can I take a look at it? No, I don't mind. In fact, the ICE agent says you don't have to show it to me. But if you don't mind, we'd like to see. No problem.
It's really up to you. If you're willing to let me check it, I'd appreciate it.
Okay.
Where were you born?
I was born in Chicago.
In Chicago?
Yeah.
Is that where you're living now?
No.
All right. Appreciate it, sir.
No problem.
All right. Have a good one.
You too.
What do you got, though? What state?
What do you mean?
Where you born? State.
What state was I born?
I'm guessing Georgia or Texas.
No.
Right here.
Illinois. I'm from Chicago.
Are you?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So you used to this cold weather then?
Pretty much.
Oh, man. God bless you. I hate it.
Have a good day.
Now, was that a problem? I mean, that's a little bit of a different way to handle a police interaction, isn't it? Does that not make a little more sense to handle it that way? And those guys seemed awful darn respectful. Hey, where are you from? You from Texas or Chicago? Oh, I'm from Chicago. You used to this cold weather? Wow, yeah. You know what the agents are doing? They're just engaging him in conversation to see if there's anything at all suspicious. It's the equivalent of a stop and talk. You know, in New York, they called it a stop and frisk. Stop and frisk is not a good term. A stop and talk is a good term. Talk to somebody, see if there's anything suspicious. You have any reasonable suspicion to pull someone over? They clearly didn't. Guys answering their questions respectfully, not all belligerent with them.
Ice just left. That was ice. And of course, I'm in here in Minnesota. Look, they got a lot of these truckers running. They can't even fuel. Like, as soon as they fuel, they getting up out of here. But look, they walking right here. Here goes some more. Yeah, they got these boys shook up. He like, where you from? I'm like, I'm from Chicago. Oh, your beard, you look like you from down south. No, I'm from Chicago. Born and raised here. I started to say, you want to see my veterans card? Look. Another one.
How you doing, sir?
Good, how are you?
Good. We're just doing immigration and safety checks.
I know they just came and checked.
Oh, they did?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, sir.
All right, have a good day.
Have a safe trip.
You too. Look at all these trucks, boy. They getting up out of here. I don't even think they fueling.
This is what I do.
Okay, so the big one must be the boss.
I voted for that. That's what I wanted. I want to take our country back. I want to take our country back from illegals who have hijacked it, who have invaded it. And ground zeros is Minneapolis. You know, we talk about the Muslim invasion, Islamic invasion, whatever you want to call it, Minneapolis. Go round them up, man. You're here illegally. You broke the law. It's a pretty simple game. You sneak into the country. You're a criminal. You're here illegally. You got to go home. I hope there's, at some point they need to cut the program off, but if you self-deport yourself, then come back. No problem. Self-deport yourself now, though. And I don't even know. I should find out if they're still running that program. In the Rumble chat, Hottie3G writes, may God bless this man. I agree. What's his money-making Mitch 09, if that's him. If the wheels ain't turning, he ain't earning, as we said in the trucking business. And I'm glad that man has the wheels turning. All right. Hey, listen, real quick. New sponsor of mine. I love these guys. VRAletter.com. VRAletter.com. If you're in the market, you need to be subscribed to their newsletter. Daily newsletter telling you where you need to be. It's not a day trading system. This is about making money over the long haul. Their returns have come in from 2025, 35%. 35% returns in 2025. What more could you ask for? I have started to transform my portfolio to follow the VRA letter system. I like these guys. We do a podcast every Friday with them now. VRAletter.com. That's VRAletter.com. Go there, sign up for the newsletter. They got a 2-week trial. You're going to get a lot of the information you need from this 2-week trial, but go there and you'll see, you know what? You're going to want to stick with them. They are bright folks there, and I wouldn't steer you wrong. VRAletter.com. That's VRAletter.com. All right, turning now to the National Rifle Association. Do you know the NRA, after coming out of the lawsuits with New York, after suing each other, after me getting sued, not by the NRA, but one of its vendors, for me defending the NRA, after all this unfolds, they come out of it, they seem to have a pathway to get back on track. I now learn they're suing the NRA Foundation, which has a bunch of former board directors, maybe disgruntled, maybe they're well-intentioned. I don't know. I don't care. They're suing their own foundation for $160 million. I'm telling you, folks, as God is my witness, they should have just worked it out themselves. Keep it quiet. Figure it out. You don't need this publicity. Their budget, last I checked, when I was there, was close to $400 million a year. $400 million. It's now down to about $100 million a year. $100 million a year. Now, folks, it's still a huge organization, but they've basically had their knees cut off. Gun Owners of America is a great organization. Don't get me wrong, I love them, but do you know their budget? I don't know what it is. I'd be shocked if it's over $1 million a year. Seriously. The NRA still at close to $100 million a year budget. You're telling me they can't be successful? Well, one of their board members came on the program on the Real America's Voice show. Lieutenant Colonel Willis Lee. He's a great guy. He's a longtime friend of mine. He's had some ups and downs now with the NRA. He used to be an officer. Now he's a board member. I don't think they like him there because he's calling a lot of stuff out. I'm a big fan of his. This is what he said. I brought him on to talk about the lawsuit. Listen.
Well, that's the kind of talk I wish the National Rifle Association would go back to engaging in. Colonel, it is such an important organization. It's not being talked about anymore. It doesn't seem to be a player on the national stage. How do we return the National Rifle Association back to the greatness it once was?
Yeah, I'm going to give you a little disclaimer first of all. Last time we spoke, I was an officer. I'm not an officer now, so I don't speak for the NRA. These are my personal opinions. Well, we were trying to get back on track there, and we called it NRA 2.0. We've got a whole new leadership team embedded ever since those scandals that came out in the New York AG trial. And that's some of what you've been referring to tonight. We've been in lawsuits for the last 4. Now we're going to go into 6 years of lawsuits, and it's turned in not from outside, but it's an internal fight now. We've seen other organizations go through this where the charitable arm has split from the rest of the, in this case, the NRA. And we're going through that fight right now.
All right, so this charitable arm of the NRA Foundation, I remember it doing all kinds of terrific work. The accusation is it's been taken over by Wayne LaPierre holdovers. And now there's a big fight between the NRA or the organization and the foundation. Can you tell me what's playing out there?
Yes. Let me give you a little background, first of all, and you've alluded to it. In 1990, the NRA founded the foundation so that we could support, with our donors and supporters, the shooting sports, competitive shooting, firearms, safety, and education. And we are the absolute best in the business at doing that. As the years have gone on, now we went through the New York AG trial, and a lot of these holdovers from the LaPierre time moved over to the foundation. Now, Many of them are disgruntled because they've been pushed out of the NRA proper, and they want to start a fight. And they've started it. It's resulted in this lawsuit where NRA now has to sue for intellectual property rights from the foundation. And the unfortunate part, as you've referred to, Grant, it doesn't matter who wins now. We're funding this thing on the NRA side with donor money. The NRA Foundation's funding their side with donor money. Either way, the firearms owner loses, the Second Amendment loses, and as you know, we've got some elections coming up in 2026.
Yeah.
Hummerford is with you. John, present company excluded. You are not a whiny old white man, and welcome to the program.
You just don't ask me to tilt my head down so you can see my hairline, because you could have added bald into that. But thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
I compete with you on that front as well. So listen, I think what happened is I saw this lawsuit and I said, my Lord, what is happening over there? We're just coming out of New York. We're coming out of the other lawsuits. I want this organization to be successful. I think gun owners are better if the NRA is powerful and the badasses that they were. And boy, this is just frustrating. What say you, John? What do you want people out there to know?
Well, look, NRA has an entirely new leadership team. We've had almost full turnover on our board. As many know, our board is abnormally large, but that's because we're not a normal organization. We represent millions of passionate, patriotic Americans out there who just want to protect their Second Amendment rights. And speaking of protecting, the core of this lawsuit boils down to NRA is an iconic American brand. It's a famous trademark. And we owe it to our members to make sure we're protecting those three letters and protecting that brand and that seal that you see on your TV. So that's the core of this. The other parts, it's a very long filing. I encourage your listeners to go out there and read that. It pleads out the case very well. But the fact is, we want to close the door on our past. We want to move forward and get back to this core mission of protecting the Second Amendment. And that's what the leadership here is laser focused on doing.
You know, I don't often say this publicly. I don't know what your response is going to be. It may throw you for a loop, but I worked at the NRA's TV outlet. And I've now looked at this and I said, you know what's crazy? The dysfunctional NRA, with all the craziness that was going on, was way more powerful than a functional NRA. I have no doubt that the I's are dotted now and the T's are crossed and the money's being spent judiciously. But we're missing something there. How do we get back to the old ways of flame throwing, John?
Well, look, what did NRA do in 2016? We were a core component of that pie that was baked that got President Trump into the White House. And that's what made the second term possible and everything we're getting done now. But what was a product of that? Lawfare by the Attorney General in New York. We were in the courtroom right next door to the president, who was having that same lawfare waged against him. What was the goal of that? To diminish our reach, to use our members' resources to get through that. Well, you know what? That's over. That's done. And we came out of it. The NRA is still standing. We were founded in 1871, and we're not going anywhere. And this new team that's here at NRA, we're energetic. We're involved. We're focused. We're all actual shooters. You may not have been able to say that about some of the folks that were here when you were here back a few years ago, but it's a core passion project for all of us. I started here as an intern while I was in college. I grew up competitive shooting and hunting. This is where I want to be, and I want to work on behalf of those millions of members to protect their freedom. So we are building back, and we will get back again. And the key thing is, your listeners know we got a hell of an election coming up in November to make sure we're not mired in years of oversight and impeachment nonsense, and we can keep focusing on the job at hand, and most importantly, protecting those nominations so we can reshape the American judiciary in the interest of freedom with President Trump. So I know I said a lot there, but it's something I feel very strongly about, and we're ready. We're here to fight.
John, I can back you up that nobody wants to help gun owners more than you do. You are committed and you're sincere about what you're saying. You're a great spokesperson for the NRA, by the way. They ought to be marching you out every single place imaginable. Maybe, you know what? I'm going to give you approval. Because back when I was at NRA TV, we were producing material like this. You saw it briefly on your screen. I'm going to roll it. And then, you know what? Maybe we get Comerford to do this. Roll it, guys. Oh, there's no sound. Well, then you don't need to roll it. What's the point of rolling it with no sound? Come back to us. Anyway, John, it was the iconic sledgehammer moment. But you guys can get back to doing that again and make it happen.
You're absolutely right. And look, we're going to start on Monday right in Richmond, Virginia. I think one big thing that's changed here with the new NRA is we're working together with all the other Second Amendment groups because all of us have the right things in mind, and that's freedom. So we'll be in Richmond. I'll be there speaking at the rally at the Capitol. We're partnered with our friends at the Virginia Citizens Defense League to make sure we are loud and that those lawmakers they're newly instituted in Richmond hear the voice of gun owners. And we're going to try to stop everything we can. And you know what? If we can't, that's why our legal team exists. And we filed more Second Amendment cases than anyone else last year, more amicus briefs. We're involved in more than 60 pieces of litigation right now. So that sledgehammer's coming. And we'll be in Richmond on Monday before we head out to the SHOT Show, which I know you like.
Man, oh man, my sound was off again. Ugh, that kills me. I hate when that happens. It's my stupid cough that I keep having to hit the mute button. And I had it off. And so you missed what I said there, I know. Here's what I'm saying. John's a great guy. The reality is, inside the halls of Congress, members of Congress will meet with the NRA. It's the NRA. They'll meet with them. But when they leave the office, they will often call me and they say, Grant, what a disaster. What a shame that the NRA has become a shell of itself. We'll meet with them, but they just don't have the power they used to. I want Republican members of Congress shaking in their boots if they even dare cross the NRA. I want the NRA to get back to acting like a mob boss on Capitol Hill. You don't cross us. We're gun owners. We support the Second Amendment. And we're powerful, and we have strength in numbers. And Republicans, forget about Democrats. They're not going to listen to us. But it's the Republicans we need to hold accountable. And the NRA needs to get back to that. I wish they would call me the NRA. I could help them. I doubt they will. I really do. But I could help them just from a public relations standpoint about what's important. So again, let's get them back to greatness. All right, folks, that's going to do it for us. Remember, I've got my mindset course. TheMaverickSystem.com, TheMaverickSystem.com. Go on offense, start winning. Get your mind right. This is a course that if you feel like you haven't gotten the promotion you deserve, you're not getting the raise that you deserve, you're for some reason things aren't going right in your life, there may be a problem with how your brain is wired. I'm going to rewire your brain to become a badass, to become an alpha male or woman, to rewire your brain to become a savage. And I'm telling you, things will start falling into place. TheMaverickSystem.com, TheMaverickSystem.com. It's priced below what it should be, and I'm going to raise this price very soon. TheMaverickSystem.com. Join me, and then let me know what you think about the course. All right? God bless all of you. Stinchfield's Army rolls because of all of you. We will see you on the Real America's Voice show tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Thanks for watching, everybody.